Dr. Bernard Durkan. So that's
this question seeks to ascertain the timescale for the family law reform, which the Minister has been working hard on, which is considerable appreciation, but in particular in view of the fact that the procedures are going on at a pace at the moment as if there was no reform in the offing, and we need to know, and so do the operators of family law need to know that there is something happening and decisive.
Thank you, Deputy, for raising this issue, and indeed just acknowledge I know you're passionate about this and want to see reform in this area, particularly when it relates to the impact that this can have on children in families when relationships break down. As you'll know, Deputy, I've been leading on a programme of family justice reform set out in the first Family Justice Strategy, which was published back in November of 22. I set out ambitious visions for a family justice system of the future, one that focuses on the needs and the rights of children in particular, but of course which will assist parents in making decisions that affect all of the family. The plan outlines the steps needed to create a more efficient and user-friendly family court system that puts the family and children at the centre of its work, and this will be achieved through the implementation of over 50 different actions across 9 different goals, with timelines for delivery up to the end of 2025. So it's not a one fixture for everything here. It will take time, but I just want to assure you there was progress being made on all of these actions. As the strategy was developed, we acknowledged the many issues and concerns about how the current system operates. Myself, I met with many practitioners, but also families and individuals that have been impacted by the current system. The action stressed the centrality of children, as I said, to many family matters, the need to ensure their best interests are considered in conjunction with their constitutional rights. So some of the strategy actions which have been completed, so we've published a policy paper on parental alienation. This sets out a series of recommendations to address what is a very complex and challenging matter, and we're progressing those. The review of the enforcement of child maintenance orders, which was published on the 7th of January 24, I think highlights just how they're not working at the moment. It looked at the current enforcement process, the challenges associated with it, the areas which may require reform, and from that there were 26 recommendations on how the current system can be improved, and work is underway there. I've launched the Court Service Family Information Hub on a 360 tour. The Legal Aid Board has established its panel of private mediators to enhance the rollout of family mediation services across the country. And in addition then, Deputy, as you know, we're finalising the review to examine the role of expert reports, including Section 47 and Section 32 reports. So this is in private family law proceedings, looking at the commissioning, the availability, the content, the use, the individuals themselves, how that is monitored or managed, and I expect to bring the recommendations from this particular review to Cabinet in the coming weeks, of which then I'll be able to put recommendations in place. A further key component of the strategy is obviously the development of the Family Courts Bill. This provides for the establishment of family court divisions within the existing court structures which currently don't exist. So this will enable for a Family High Court, a Family Circuit Court, a Family District Court, all dealing with family law matters and only family law matters, which is really what we need at this stage.
Thank you, Minister, for your very comprehensive reply, and I agree entirely with the extent to which you are proposing to change matters. I think in particular the issue whereby parental alienation is becoming established in this country as part of our legal system, family law system, I think is worrying, because what's happening is that it is becoming under the radar, an import from other jurisdictions for use here, and it is clearly in violation of the Irish Constitution. And the degree to which parents, women in particular, children in particular, and some men as well, are subject to trauma and anguish and anxiety above and beyond which should be.
In relation to that, you're asking the judge, the minister, to give an opinion, and you're straying into accusations about the court system. So I understand the issue you're raising, it's an important issue, but I just ask you to be careful in the way you're putting it.
Well, I accept what you say, Las Concorda, but I would have to point out as well that we cannot change anything unless we direct our attention at the subject matter. I'm not wishing to disobey the chair, nor do I ever wish to disobey the chair. But it is hugely important that we are clear in what we are about. And if at the end of the day...
You're over time, but you'll get a chance to come back again on the subject matter. on the subject matter.
I will do.
And Tara.
Thank you, Deputy. Specifically on the concept of parental alienation, I think what the report clearly showed is that where you have a system that doesn't work as effectively as it should, where the structures are not as effective as they could be, it actually allows for the potential for abuse to continue and for parental alienation to allow particular abuses to continue even into the courts, and that's what a lot of the research and the findings from the representative groups, but also from families who contributed to the specific report that we did. And the main recommendations are really to improve the family justice system, to make sure it works more effectively, that we have less people going to court, that we have more mediation, that we have better supports for families at the earlier stages, and that in particular around the review of the various different reports and the experts that are being brought into courts. We don't have a panel of experts, we don't have set criteria or qualifications, we have no way of having an overview of the system itself. So that is what the review and the recommendations will be setting out, exactly how we make sure that anybody who provides evidence to a court that they are adhering to strict criteria and that they themselves are qualified essentially to do the job that they've been asked to do.
Thank you, Minister. Again, I would point out that it is essential that the issues that have caused this anxiety and this trauma for children and parents over a number of years, and which is growing, the use of parental alienation is growing, and it would appear that there is no intention to change in certain quarters. So I would thank you, Minister, for outlining the proposals, which you will, of course, have to pursue vigorously. And from the correspondence I have received from participants, I have no doubt at all as to the seriousness of the situation that faces us, where in some cases children have been forbidden to see their parents or their parents to see their children for up to 2-3 years, and in some cases with the expenditure of over €100,000 in order to have the privilege of seeing their children. So I would congratulate the Minister on the work so far and strongly support what she is doing.
Minister to conclude.
Thank you, Deputy. Like you, I think this is an issue that has come to my door as a TD for many years since I was first elected, and you will always have families coming who are going through a very difficult situation. And what I hope to do with these structural changes is to provide a less adversarial approach, but also where that's not possible, to remove that the structures support families to get the right outcome, and that children in particular are not caught in the middle. So making sure their voices are heard, that they are able to understand what's happening, that they're spoken to in language that's appropriate. So that's where training comes into this, but also where the new court system. At the moment you have situations where people go to court, they don't know if they're going to be heard. The next family sitting mightn't be for a few months. It prolongs things if they're not and their case isn't heard. What this new structure will ensure is that there are dedicated family courts with dedicated family court judges who are specifically trained but also only focused on family law matters. And I think that in itself will ensure that anybody that a person is going before in terms of the judiciary, that they are there, they want to be there, they're focused on family law, they're trained in family law, and that's really, really important here. But separate to that then, the investment in the mediation system is so important. There's a lot of cases shouldn't be going to court, there's a lot of issues can be resolved. The minute it goes to court, it often becomes more adversarial, and that's a key component of the overall reform. Thank you.